So my thesis was how does subliminal advertising affect and influence our urge to purchase major brand products? And so basically the Greeks were the first to discover ways of influencing, manipulating a person's mind. They created a science of rhetoric that basically works by urging people to do things they wouldn't ordinarily do by, using the language they used. As society became more advanced, we created different ways of influencing people. That science of rhetoric soon turned into hypnosis, whisper therapy, and the most modern form of subliminally transferring messages. Subliminal messaging is just the base form of what branches off to it. Today we use subliminal advertising as the main form, which can be broken down into subliminal seduction and so forth. There have been countless experiments done on this theory, and just like any have had positive and negative results. Major brand products like Disney, Tostitos, and Amazon have been linked to using subliminal advertising. But how does subliminal advertising affect our urge to purchase major brand products? So this is the history. So the Greeks created the first science of rhetoric. 1863, scientist Subliminal first proved that by inserting electrical impulses at different levels had a point at which conscious became subliminal. 1894, W.R. Dunham reported subliminal messaging was similar to mental telepathy in his book, The Vital Force of Science. And basically, E.W. Scripture publishes the first book on the theory of subliminal messages in 1897. 1900s, whisper therapy becomes the first form of actually transferring stuff. E.W. in Scripture and W.R. Dunham were actually considered mentally at loss because no one actually believed their theory worked. And so their books were turned into works of science fiction, but they actually laid the groundwork for subliminal advertising. So basically what they are, today marketers and advertisers can use these messages in a large variety of ways. They put messages into an audio tracker filmed by a machine called a tachyotoscope, which can flash frames that last 1/3000th of a second at 5-second intervals. And that's a picture of them. So basically, subliminal advertising is a form of subliminal messaging, which is linked to the idea of mind control. These messages are registered into perception below the group's threshold, which is in the brain. It's kind of below, it's kind of like in the middle. And so the threshold causes people, So it transfers it to the threshold, causing people to do things they wouldn't normally do or without him or her knowing it. 3 things must be present. 1, they must be deliberately placed but not obvious. 2, they must reach a subconscious threshold. And 2, they must cause the audience to act upon the message. So subliminal advertising uses persuasive techniques that are neither seen nor heard, but received through the subconscious. These messages go through the track or film too fast to be recognized. They influence and manipulate a person to make somebody want a product of a brand or cause them to remember the brand's name, so next time they see it they'll be like, hey, I want this. But they all have a momentary effect. So past experiments, scientist was the first to prove through using electrical impulses, as I said before. But the most popular experiment was done by the BBC in the 1920s when they began broadcasting. The public had thought the radio was actually sinister, and they hated and thought the devil was talking to them. And so, to persuade them otherwise, the BBC released a new jingle that played backwards, says, "This is not a news, no, it's really not."
That's scary.
1957, James Vickery, a sales marketer guru, said to have inserted the phrases "eat popcorn and drink Coca-Cola" in the movie Picnic. The statistics showed an increase in popcorn by 58% and an increase in Coca-Cola by 18%. We don't really know if there were any outside factors affecting this, but that's basically the pictures that were flashed and broken down. A similar experiment was reported by Vance Packard, who wrote Hidden Persuaders in 1957. He reported that at a local theater they said to have inserted flashing ice cream ads. The experiment was titled The Sub-Threshold. Another experiment was done by the same person where he inserted the words knife, blood, and murder into the movie Psycho to increase fear factor in the audience. And the third most popular was conducted in 1979, where there were subliminal anti-theft messages from Mozak. It was shown to decrease theft by 37%. So another past experiment. The last experiment that is well known was conducted by multiple companies and still used today. But Ghibli Skin was the first to use and in fact try to take the slogan "sex sells" subliminally. The advertiser placed the word sex within the ice cubes to try to arouse the customers, causing them to remember their company's names. But this also doesn't have to be so literal. For instance, in 2003, something like that, they did an experiment on mayonnaise bottles. One was like the round fat jar with more in it, but the other one was a slimmer one with curves and a thicker waist. The participants were all women, and they chose a slimmer bottle because it reminded them of the body they wanted. And so, Disney is one of the largest and supporters of subliminal advertising. Monsters Incorporated when when Sully tries to send Boo off to, her original door. You can see that she hands him Wendy the Cowgirl, Finding Nemo, and the Luxor Junior Ball. But Toy Story 1 was, produced in November 22nd, 1995, while Monsters Incorporated was produced in 2001. And Toy Story 3, where the Luxor Junior Ball is from the 18th of 2010, June 18th, 2010. Another one, WALL-E, he appears in Toy Story and Cars. Cars was produced June 9, 2006. WALL-E was June 27, 2008. Toy Story 3 was June 6, 18th, 2010. Other run-ins, they use a lot of scenes over twice to create a sense of familiarity and comfort. So the lamp from the Luxo Jr., also the lamp in the Pixar logo, knocks Buzz out the window in Toy Story. Sorry. Dynaco is the name of the gas station that we find in Pizza Planet Pickup on Toy Story, and also is the coveted sponsors in Cars. The old man who plays chess with himself in Jerry's game is also the repairman expert in Toy Story 2. The birds in the short film for the birds is still up on the line in a highway scene of Cars. Other large companies like Amazon points to A to C, but it looks like a smile with a dimple, to make you think that they have a lot of products, anything ranging with names from A to Z. Baskin Robbins uses their logo to introduce how many flavors they have, 31. And FedEx has an arrow between the E and the X to show emotions and evoke emotions of forward efficiency.
Wait, what?
Where's that arrow?
I saw that later. I did not see that.
Okay, well, in Tostitos, there are two people in the middle, the T's, sharing a chip and a bowl of salsa. And actually, these kind of messages actually made legislators as well as individuals in the 70s and 80s realize them. And they kind of imagined a possible effect of a future full of consumers influenced and manipulated by these messages. Countries like the UK believe in the power of subliminal messages, and every day flashes a series of different affirmations on their PC screens. And some of them tell them to stop smoking or to increase their memory and ability to learn. The use of these ads have been banned in countries like Britain and Australia, but in the US they're still legal. So ever since the Greeks learned how to manipulate people, we have advanced our studies into forms we use and experience every day, like subliminal messaging and advertising, to cause us to do things we wouldn't ordinarily do. Since these large companies like Disney and Tostitos have already captivated our mind, we can only imagine any form of mind control. What kind of form of mind control is next? Okay.
We can clap. Okay. Okay. Raise your hands if you have a question.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so what was the name of the scientist who did
Sasaloa.
What?
Sasaloa.
Okay, and what's whisper therapy?
It's where like a therapist would whisper into those movies where they have the people sleeping and then the therapist whispers into their ear to improve their behavior or something like that. That was the first form in theory to be worked on.
Oh, okay.
Other
Wait,
questions?
Yeah.
What was the arrow in FedEx? I did not see.
Yeah.
It was between the E and the X.
It's right there.
Oh, wait.
Wait, explain that again?
Oh, wait.
Like
I'm gonna try to get it on film for you.
the arrow between the E and the X, it evokes, like, you won't see, subconscious means that you won't realize it, but only your subconscious does. So that means it's not, it's not like dead in your face, So whenever you look at this, you think FedEx is always fast and efficient, and so they have done a study that said that it's because of the arrow, because it evokes emotions of forward efficiency. So.
Cassie, I have a single question for you that should be fairly easy to answer. What got you interested in this topic, and what drives you to be so thorough?
What do you mean by arrow?
What got you interested in this topic, and what drove you to do this? You did an excessive amount, a great deal of great research.
Thank you. Well, last year I did a science fair at PJS, and one girl, she did an experiment on subliminal messages, and she took cupcakes and basically put half a red and a half a blue M&M on, like 24 red cupcakes and 24 blue cupcakes. She showed a video, and she said to have inserted, like, red flashing dots every, like, at a 5-second interval, and, like, 97% of the people chose the red cupcake because their minds realized the red dot. And so I just thought, I guess, subliminal messaging. And then I found that on a website that subliminal advertising was also used, and it's in large companies as in today. And so basically I looked into it more and found all these other companies that use them as well. Yeah.
This is more of a vague question, but when you were doing research for this, did you find anything on the Polybius theory?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Cassie. Excellent job.